Important number out today. These are pretty impressive, these producer price numbers. I got to tell you, I'm a little bit surprised, because I would have thought that you would have still had the effects of inflation seeping into the economy. But yesterday you got the CPI numbers, the consumer price index numbers, showing an increase of 2.8% in prices year over year, which is, not that far out of line with what the Fed is usually shooting for, which is 2 to 2.5%. So that was decent. Everybody thought it was going to be 3% or above. And Donald Trump is making the point that one of the reasons you're seeing this low inflation effective already is because of all the changes that he's implementing vis-a-vis regulation within the energy sector. I want to go to CNBC. They were really excited. Rick Santelli, whom I've known a long time and used to work with over there, and he's really into the bond market, okay? And so he lives for these inflation reports. I mean that in a really good way. And he was like, wow, when he saw this PPI number today, because producer prices, which are really indicative of what's to come for consumer prices, if producers are paying more for things, then they tend to pass those costs on to consumers. He was blown away by the number. Let's watch.
The headline, expecting up 0.3, up 0, goose egg, unched. Boy, that is progress. We haven't had a number that low. Well, we equaled it in July of last year when we had another 0. To find a lower number, you're back to October of 23 at minus 0.4. Strip out the all-important food and energy, down 1/10. Down 1/10. That's 0.4 lower than expectations. Down 1/10 also equals July of last year. Find a lower number, you're going back to COVID times, April of 2020.
Okay, so good news. Donald Trump actually alluding to this in his discussion there with the Prime Minister of Ireland just yesterday, talking about oil prices and how they're coming down and how this is pretty beneficial, right, to the overall economy. It's interesting because you do have a market that's lower. I actually bought more today. I'm a long-term investor. We can talk about that in just a second. But you had a lot of things down. I mean, other than gold today, gold trading up 1.7%. I think perhaps a play on some of this concern, right, this concern about what tariffs will mean. But this is a very good read on inflation. I'll tell you, if the Fed needs to do anything, and let's hope they don't, but if they do, they need low inflation. And so this gives everybody a little bit more wiggle room. Here is the president speaking about how oil prices are coming down.
What I'm very happy with is oil is down to $65 a barrel. And that's faster than I would have anticipated. We put on the gas, we stepped in the gas in order to get oil. And with what's happening. So we're getting that down. And when energy comes down, prices are going to be coming down with it. So in a very short period of time, we've done a very good job.
You better believe it, right? So let's try and get this stuff down in the real way. The real way is really what ultimately matters as opposed to artificial stuff. Look, I think that the problem with the government shutdown should not be ignored. It is significant. We have the Treasury Secretary out just moments ago speaking on this. Scott Besson, I'm a big fan of his. He's a very, very smart guy. I know a lot of people that have worked with him and have very, very strong, good things to say about him as a financial intellect. He's talking about what the threat of this shutdown that the Democrats are welcoming is going to mean for the economy. Let's listen in.
I can tell you what's not good for the economy is this government shutdown. The Democrats are in disarray, they're flailing, and this is the best they can do. That I think this is the economic story for the next few days.
Not the tariff.
Not the tariff, not for the next few days. If they want to take us into a shutdown, they're going to own it.
So it does seem that way. Again, you go back to the headlines we're seeing out of, say, Chuck Schumer saying we're not going to budge on this stuff. And now, of course, you have Besant, who's more apolitical, dare I say. I mean, he's not like a highly, highly political kind of guy. Usually your Treasury Secretary isn't. But he's pointing out that the real problem here is not the tariffs and the talk of the tariffs. He's actually done a lot of work on tariffs, and they're trying to be able to use tariffs effectively as a financial tool to help improve our economic well-being as well as national security issues, et cetera. So tariffs, he's saying, aren't really the problem. The problem in the near term, short term is the shutdown. I don't, here's what I'm going to say about that. I think the government could use a shutdown. Okay. I don't think we're really going to miss any of them tremendously. People that get to stay home, they will be compensated with back pay. So it's not like they're really going to be out. And, maybe we'll start to learn who we need and who we don't need in light of all this. Speaking of which, I just had my 1-year anniversary at 76 Research, and 76 Research is a financial company, research company that I started because I wanted you to guys have more transparency within the markets. I don't think you get that in the financial media. I don't think you get that on Wall Street. So I started this with that intention. We've done extraordinarily well. Take a look at the portfolios. These are the 3 portfolios we have. And this is for the year. You can see the top 5 holdings in each of these have done extraordinarily well. You can get 76 Research, the basic 76 Research report, for just $1 a month for the first 2 months. Then it goes to $9.95. You can cancel anytime, so no harm, no foul. But hopefully what it can do is start introducing you to investing, because I'm a big believer, you got to buy on the dips. If you bought back in March 2020, when I was like, this is insane, this is crazy, you'd be really happy you did. And this is another moment where I think that people are getting overly worked up in ways that aren't necessarily real and aren't necessarily healthy for their portfolios.